Welcome to Lineups and Lures. Join hosts Joe and Chris as they break down the biggest stories in professional and amateur sports and reel in the best fishing stories and tips. Whether it's game day strategy or the perfect catch, we've got you covered. Grab your gear and get ready. This is Lineups and Lures. What a weekend in Corvallis. Was that fun or what?
The roller coaster of emotions, the highs, the lows. It's everything you expect in a super regional tournament.
I mean, you saw a little bit of everything. Some great pitching, some very timely hitting, some home runs. That was just good baseball all around by two very good teams, too.
Yeah, no, I don't think either one of them would have embarrassed themselves in Omaha this weekend. Thankfully, we came out on the right end of the stick. I think we've spoken about this all year. And for the Beavs to get to Omaha and make some noise in Omaha, they needed to catch fire at the right time. And I'm not going to go out there and say everything's perfect, but there was some very, very timely hitting, some amazing pitching, and I think for the first time in a long time, a true team effort on this team. This is not a team of, yes, there are some guys that have, pro talent, but there isn't a bunch of guys on this team that you go, he's going to go play in the MLB. He's going to go play in the major leagues. He's going to go play in the major leagues. There's a lot of guys that goes, there's a lot of good college baseballs there that may turn out to be something, but they just really look like a team, and it reminds me a lot of the 06, 07 era teams. So a lot to be excited about.
Well, it's traditional Beaver baseball. I mean, that's how they play.
Consecutive safety squeezes.
And it worked.
It did work.
So but they have that ability to be able to go from safety squeeze, punt for a base hit, to then hitting a home run. I'm in that same game. That was a regional game, but they went bunt, and then like 3 innings later, it's 4 home runs.
Yeah.
That's the type of team effort, like you're saying. Everybody has to play different ways, and it is a different guy every game. And
another thing that shouldn't go without being said is I think Mitch did a hell of a job shaking up the lineup. Not only did he adjust his pitching rotation, which in hindsight looked to me more about having Keljo's left-handed arm in the bullpen available, more so than him being not used as a starter or relegating from a starting spot. I think the fact that the Beavers are a little light on left-handed pitching, having him in the bullpen, I think, was a great addition. Caraway moving up to the leadoff hole in Sunday's game. There was, a lot of lineup changes. He used the pinch hit very well late in games. And, just a lot of things went right this weekend.
Well, and that's what it takes. The ball's got to fall the right way for you a couple times here and there, and that's just kind of how it worked. But these very good strategic moves. I mean, he tinkled with the lineup here and there, made some adjustments. Definitely played the right versus left game as far as how his lineup construction was. But I think the whole key to this was Caraway getting hot at the right time, because you saw him go from 8-hole hitter in the regionals, working his way up to the 5-hole. And then, obviously there's clearly a scouting report that the Beavers struggle with left-handed pitching. So you kept seeing lefty, and then moving Caraway up to that leadoff spot in that Super Regional Championship game made all the difference.
Yeah, and once again, I think there's a little luck there. I mean, the fact that Tolt went 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts the night before probably has a little something to do with that move as well. But in the end, Mitch looks like a genius, and I think the other thing to be said about this is, all year we've pretty much relied on Turley, Arquette, and Weber to do a bunch of the damage. And I'm not saying they played bad this weekend. They certainly did not. They all had great weekends. But it was kind of refreshing to see a Cannon Reader, Caraway being a big mix. Jacob Craig had timely hits. Macias did a lot of good things especially as a pinch hitter. And, obviously, as you said, they went lefty, so he didn't get to start because of that. But, there's just contributions up and down the lineup, I think, was the key.
Well, and then even, playing his hunches, McIntyre in the 9-hole.
Yeah.
Leaves the yard.
Right.
I mean, that place was going crazy when he left the yard right there.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think we were all looking at each other going, is it really 7-2 just now? Did that just happen? Yeah.
Yeah, but at the same time, we were also saying that's not enough.
No, and I think and as it turned out, it wasn't nearly enough. That look, when you are getting in these intense games where the leash is a little less than normal, which means you're going to go through your bullpen a little bit quicker. When you start getting into Sunday afternoon, that cupboard's not quite as full as it is Friday night, and there's a reason guys are the fifth or sixth man out of the bullpen and not the Friday night starter. They're just not as good, or they're underclassmen. They haven't got there yet. So you do expect the scoring to be higher on Sunday than you would on a Friday night typically. And let's be honest, it was 90 degrees. That ball was flying out of the yard.
Well, let's not forget about the wind blowing. I mean, those flags never stop blowing.
No.
Straight out to left field.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was you knew there was going to be a lot of runs scored.
I mean, there's that Beaver flag that sits right out there in left center where the beer boys are normally out there barbecuing, doing their thing, and that thing never sat down all afternoon.
No, but it was also great. I mean, just the pitching. The Beavs still had pitching left, which if you're thinking heading into regionals, we didn't really think that the pitching would stand up if they lost the first game. And they did a really good job. I mean, everybody wants to talk about they scored 50 runs in 4 games, and that's how they won regional. They gave up 6. That's how they won the regional. The hitting is obviously great, but being able to go through those 4 games, only give up 6 runs, getting that awesome start from Queen, getting to Kramer, Oaks threw well, the whole bullpen threw well. It always takes that guy to step up and do it. And, we talked about it throughout the season that those midweek opportunities are huge because when you get to regionals, you get to super regionals, you get to the World Series, you don't know what's going to happen. The Beavs have notoriously lost the first game in the World Series and come back to win it. So now they know that Queen is a viable 4 to 5 inning guy. Kramer's a 4 to 5 inning guy. Oaks is a 4 to you have some faith in those 4th, 5th starters now that you probably didn't have before.
And I think this goes back to this only happens without Dax and Kleinschmidt throwing the way they did.
Yeah.
I mean, those guys look like absolute pros out there. Seasoned pros, throwing great. I mean, Kleinschmidt took Arnold every bit of the way on Saturday night. Those guys were toe-to-toe, and quite frankly, I think at least statistically, he outpitched him. Which there's the guy that's meant to go potentially 1-1 in the draft. So having those two, and I think when we mentioned this already, so I'm not going to hop on it, but allowing Keljo to come out of the bullpen, giving that extra left-handed arm. Because sometimes, even if you're the opposition manager, just by having the threat of that arm in the bullpen means that maybe he's not going to go to his pinch hitter or something as quickly because then he's going to turn him around anyway. So yeah, no, a lot of good stuff there. And those the names that you talked about, Queen, DeCramer, Leif has been great. Having these people available has certainly changed our fortune, and the only reason we're here today.
Yeah, so that was your first opportunity to be at Goss Stadium as they clinched a Super Regional World Series berth?
No.
Were you there in 17-18?
Yes, I was there for the Supers.
Okay. So what did you think? What did you think of that celebration?
A couple things go through your mind. Obviously, just as a fan, and Goss Stadium is a very special place to both of us. I think we enjoy going down there immensely. The fact that with the ties in the baseball community, you more than me. So at this point, we could probably spend an hour and a half just making a loop around the stadium and saying hello to some people we know and people that we've crossed paths, whether we either played with them, against them, coached with, against, just being in that baseball family in the Northwest. So it's a special place. I think the fact that the crowd, no one left.
Not a single person.
That game was 14-4 there for a while, and there's if that was a Laker fan, half of that crowd would have already left and missed traffic. I didn't see a single person leave, and they go and do the full 360. I think the players realize what a special place it is as well, and that's probably one of the reasons of the continued success of the program. So that's huge. The other thing is, this is the first time I had a plane ticket to Omaha booked, so
a little added stress on closing out that game.
I got to tell you, it was like, they clinched, and I'm just sitting in my head going, "Holy shit, I'm going to Omaha!" So, this is this is a first for me. I know it's an old hat for you, but first for me, and couldn't be more excited.
Hey there, I'm Chad with Jackson Painting and Remodel, and if you're looking to give your home a fresh new look, you've come to the right place. Whether you need a bold new color for your living room or a fresh coat to brighten up your home's exterior, my team and I have got you covered. We specialize in both indoor and outdoor painting, using only the best materials to make sure your space looks amazing and stands the test of time. If you're ready to transform your home, visit jacksonpainting.com. I'd love to come by, chat about your ideas, and give you a free estimate. At Jackson Painting and Remodel, we don't just paint, we make your vision a reality. Again, visit jacksonpainting.com or call 503-620-2600.
This summer, level up your game at Portland Baseball Club's summer camps. Every Tuesday and Thursday, join us from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. for skill-building sessions in pitching, hitting, fielding, and more. At just $60 per day, you'll get expert coaching and personalized instruction in a fun and competitive environment. Whether you're a seasoned player or just starting out, Portland Baseball Club summer camps are perfect for all skill levels. Spots will fill up fast. Register today at portlandbaseballclub.com. As you mentioned, this will be your first time going to Omaha, seeing the College World Series. Not really knowing what to expect other than some really good baseball games. What are you most excited to see there?
I mean, I hate to be the obvious, but the baseball. I don't know exactly what you would equate this level of Division I baseball to. Maybe it's short A, single A. I mean, at this level, these teams are pretty good ball, and you're going to get to see a number of the guys that are going to get called on day one of the draft playing this weekend. There is, as much as I never got to Rosenblatt, it's still Omaha. It's still the College World Series. I think, Omaha's a smaller town in the overall scheme of things. I think it's just going to be fantastic to go and experience the people, the baseball. And while, there may be a little corporate in this, I would like to think that 90+% of the people there are actually baseball fans and not just there for the party or because they got some corporate boondoggle. And I think really just the baseball and seeing the players and experiencing that, there's the secret sauce is the baseball. Yeah.
I got to go back in 17 and 18. Went for opening weekend essentially both years, and then in 18 when they made the final round, we flew back and got to catch all three games of the finals. But the baseball's awesome, but it's just the whole atmosphere. Like
Right.
They have a whole village outside of all these different baseball vendors and people walking around, and it's one of the few times where you get to go spend like a week and it's just baseball. Everything is baseball. Everybody there is there to watch baseball. Mm-hmm. It is corporate for sure. I'm sure Rosenblatt was a frat party, and this is, a financial meeting type atmosphere. But just seeing all the different people from different parts of the country. I mean, I still remember standing up under the concourse during one of the numerous rain delays because, when it rains there, it downpours.
You're going to get a thunderstorm at some point.
Absolutely.
It's going to happen.
Standing around talking to guys from North Carolina, talking to guys from, LSU, like all these different parts of the country, and they all come together for a week to see some of the best college baseball played all year.
Right.
It's just awesome. The kids are into it. The coaches are into it. The town embraces it. You got the Jello shot challenge going on in Omaha. All the restaurants are decked out, have banners everywhere. It's just one of those things that you just don't experience very often. And the fact that they keep it in Omaha every year is awesome.
Right.
Because that's like one of their marquee events, if not their marquee event for the entire year. So it's a good party. Yeah. I'm really excited that we get to go do it.
Yeah, no, this is definitely check one off the list type deal here, and I guess the only thing that would make it better is maybe having to go back for the second weekend, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah, and it's a good field of teams. I mean, Oregon State kicks off against Louisville. Louisville's a good team. Coastal Carolina's in our bracket as well with Arizona.
Isn't that a story? Coastal Carolina.
23 in a row? Crazy.
Yeah, so I got to tell you something, and this is definitely appropriate. So there's a local news station I listen to here in the metro area, and it's local FM news station, and they were actually talking about a certain team called Louisiana. Was it Louisiana Shreveport?
Hey,
and I'm sitting there and I'm going, why do I know this? And then they're sitting there talking about 59 consecutive, if I'm correct.
Correct.
And I'm just sitting in the car going, if only they knew that the head coach of that place started in little old Portland, Oregon, coaching Portland Baseball Club with my good buddy Joe Taylor. And Neffendorf, shout out to Neff if you're listening. Great job, kid.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. See them run the table on the entire season.
Yes, on the 59 in a row.
Yes.
I don't know if that'll ever get done again.
I don't think so. That's pretty amazing.
So does next year count as 60 and you keep going, or is it done?
That's a good question.
Because it's a different group of kids. So.
It is a different group of kids. I don't know. We'll have to see how that plays out. But back to the World Series.
Yes.
So Coastal Carolina, 23 straight wins right now to end the season. They got Arizona in the top of the bracket. So that's a pretty good 4 teams right there. Louisville's always strong. Then in the bottom half, we got UCLA versus Murray State. We'll get back to Murray State in a minute. And then you got the big donkeys. You got Arkansas and LSU in the opening round.
You know the best thing is at least one SC team's got to lose.
Very true. But, what's the most exciting part about this whole lineup other than Oregon State being in there? 3 Pac-12 teams.
You beat me to it. I was just about to say it. It was on the tip of my tongue.
That's got to be other than Murray State, that has to be the story of the College World Series at this point, especially if they can, 2 out of the 3 can win their first games, maybe get to a bracket championship.
Right.
Man, wouldn't that be awesome to have Pac-12 teams make it all the way to the final series?
Yeah, no, and that's... And we should probably redo this debate again at some point, but if this just once again tells me why football needs to go and do their own thing and all the other sports need to go back, because you and I were talking about it, and I've kind of secretly been rooting for the old Pac-12 teams when they're not playing, and I'm certainly not rooting for a Big Ten or an SEC school, which I guess some of them are Big Ten schools now, but...
I think, is it big 30?
I can't keep track. So... Yeah, no, I think that West Coast influence is fantastic for us because I think we get forgotten about a lot here on the West Coast. We certainly have over the years in football. Baseball maybe a little bit different, but yeah, definitely rooting for UC. We wouldn't mind seeing Oregon State, UCLA in the big one. Absolutely.
How about Murray State?
Cinderella story.
Have you seen the picture of their baseball field? It's been floating around on Twitter most of the day. 800-seat stadium. Natural grass, no grounds crew. So their head coach is out there mowing the lawn.
Sounds like what we used to have to do.
And that team goes and knocks off Duke. Got the dog pile twice. I don't know if you saw the end of that.
I did.
Yeah. A little awkward, but hey. I thought the second dog pile was almost as good as the first one.
Yeah, I think the umpires should have let them all know a little quicker that one, I don't know, that's tough. But
yeah, that's the replay working their way back in. But that's just a great story to see them, have a cap off a great season. And, the parity in NCAA baseball is still alive. I mean, the top 3-4 seeds, whatever, didn't even make it out of regional. So it's good to see.
And I think there's 2 things to be said on that. Number one, I think the seeding in general was a little biased. I think, the reality, and I think this shows it, is if maybe you would have thrown a blanket over the top 16 teams and shuffled them all up and moved them around, it probably wouldn't have mattered who went where. But yeah, this is the LSU Arkansas has got to be that's got to be kind of a grudge match there. So, I mean, that's got to be a great game to watch. And don't sleep on Arizona. Don't sleep on Arizona.
Hey, they went into that Eugene regional, took care of business.
Right?
We talked about it a couple weeks ago. That's always a pesky school. Baseball, football, it doesn't matter. They always seem to find a way to win. And they have some historical. That's a really good baseball program.
Sure it is.
They've won a few national championships in the years. So
yeah, and they just Tempe just kind of right down there on the border. It's not Tucson, and they just kind of get forgotten about a little bit. If you're not talking about NCAA basketball, but yeah, you said it, and don't sleep on them. I don't think you can sleep on anybody in Omaha.
No, I don't think so. So have you heard about this Jello shot challenge before?
I have no idea about the Jello shot challenge.
So there's a restaurant in Omaha, and they sell colored Jello shots for each team.
Do they have alcohol in these Jello shots?
I'm sure they do.
Okay.
So they keep a running tally of how many Jello shots have been purchased for each team, and then they declare a winner at the end of the College World Series for which team sold the most. So I believe LSU is the team we got to really try to challenge to beat. They travel really well, and so will Arkansas. So It's kind of a little fun little side game that goes on in Omaha.
Well, I'm gonna leave that up to the younger kids. I'm in my 40s, not in my 20s, so I don't bounce back so well. So I won't be participating in the Jello shots anymore. But it'll be fun to keep track of.
Yeah, I figured you're more into the whiskey marinated steak over at the Drover.
Well, there might be a steak in my future, and I might even have a glass of wine with my steak. But, as you can see, we've gotten a little older, a little wiser these days.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to the World Series. I'm excited to bring you back and have you experience it for the first time.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of fun. And we'll fly in Friday night, get in late, and then we'll be at games Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then we'll hop on the plane and come back home on Tuesday.
Yes, sir. Looking forward to it.
Enjoyed Lineups and Lures? Like, share, and rate the show to help us grow. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Thanks for listening, and catch you next time on Lineups and Lures.